Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Not by anything in particular, but just life. The journey of life can be daunting between working to pay the bills, growing your relationships to keep your family afloat. And then, where does that leave time for yourself and your personal health? Welcome to the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast, where we are all about juggling and managing all of your responsibilities to be by your side in growing through it all. This brand is here to help you achieve your goals. Whether they are personal and emotional goals you set for yourself, business goals you want to hit in your career, or physical and nutritional goals you want to accomplish to be a healthier version of yourself. Whatever your goals are, stay tuned for tips and tricks to make accomplishing them easier for you. Each episode will help you significantly improve in one aspect of your life or another.
And Facebook.
Hi.
It's me, Caitlin, and one of my awesome special guests, Tori Grogan, and we are here to record another episode of the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. And I know you're probably wondering, where have you been? I haven't seen you on live lately. Well, I'm 9 months pregnant, so I'm thankful to be recording this podcast with her today. And it's probably going to be the last one before I pop. So take it as the last episode of season 2 of the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast, where we are all about personal growth in your health, in your finances, in your spiritual walk with God, and bettering your relationships. So all things personal development. Today, Tori and I are going to be talking about Freedom Conference, her walk with God, and some major breakthroughs this girl is having in her life. So I will go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hi, guys. I'm Tori, as she said before, Tori Grogan, rather. I went through Freedom. Caitlin brought me through. She started the group, and I went through it, and I'm so excited to talk to it with you guys. Talk about it with you.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to let her dive deeper into what Freedom did for her. But just to give you a little bit of a background, Freedom is a 12-week Bible study that many churches take part of. And I went through Freedom whenever COVID first started, and then we had to cancel. So then I had to go through Freedom again. And the goal is to get to the Freedom Conference because you really have some major breakthroughs that happen internally that change you for the rest of your life. So this past semester was pretty cool because Tori went through Freedom. My husband went through Freedom. Excuse me, baby burp. But they have been just walking in their faith with God and reaching new levels. It's almost like a new superhero power that you unlock after you leave Freedom. So Tori, if you can explain to the viewers, what was the 12-week Bible study like for you?
The 12-week Bible study for me was more or less taking what I knew from the past, what I was taught with my family, and bringing it to light, in a sense, making it make sense. Because before, I was just told things and I would abide by them because, I didn't want to go to hell. That's what they told us. But Freedom allowed me to actually get the knowledge that I needed and actually get the tools that I needed to actually walk with Christ through life.
Awesome. Definitely. I love that you said you kind of had a childhood where you just did things because you didn't want to go through hell. Because that's how we were raised. Your parents tell you don't do something and you're like, okay, because this is the repercussions. And on week 1 of Freedom, we kind of talk about the tree of life where we should all live in versus the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is where we strive to gain God's love instead of just accepting that he already loves us. Right. And when you realize God already loves you, no matter you're doing good, you're doing bad, it just helps you become a better person overall without trying to earn his love or not wanting to go to hell.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I felt. The first story, and this has been sticking with me throughout this whole process, was about how Eve ate the apple. We always thought that Eve just did it herself, or the devil told her some different things that were devilish in a sense to eat the apple. But no, literally, he told her that's of God. You want to be more like. Now I'm paraphrasing, guys.
We are no pastors or biblical scripture people who know it all.
At all. But you want to eat the apple, you want to be more like God, you want to, do the things that he does, then eat that apple, girl. But that's how the devil gets you every time. It could possibly kind of make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
It could to our flesh. It can make sense to our flesh, but then you have to have that extra check with God before you move on, because it could be from the devil and not from God.
And you just have no idea, especially if you're just living your life day to day, going through the normal routines,
Right.
and then you're wondering, why does your life suck? Or why do you keep hitting the same brick wall? And it's because you're not paying attention to what the Holy Spirit is trying to speak to you, or to what you keep doing that you're not supposed to do. It's just so hard because, like Tori said, our flesh desires it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think freedom really helps you tap into that inner spirit man that we all have. It's just the world blinds us by, the universe did this to me, or I can go to this person who's going to read cards and tell me why my life is this way. Whenever, no, God's knocking at your front door. It's just you have no idea how to navigate or hear from him.
Right.
So do you think freedom really helped you learn how to listen to the Holy Spirit so you can make better choices?
Yes, that's the best way to put it. I think we all struggle whenever we decide to dive deeper into our faith, that how do I know if it's from God? How do I know if it's just me getting in the way? This court, I would call it a course, but this freedom conference / class, all the 12 classes, allows you to help make those decisions. Like, it helps you, hey, is this right or is this wrong? You kind of have the steps, in a sense, like if you're doing a math problem, you have your different steps you check off before you get the answer. It's kind of just like that. Yes,
that's such a good example. You have the math question, and then the steps that you take to get to the correct answer, and then you have life where you're trying to figure out the correct answer.
Right.
And freedom gave you those tools to get there. And a lot of the tools that we don't even realize are different things that we're taking in. Are we watching too much Netflix? Right. Are we listening to too much worldly music? Because those things affect you. If you're rapping a Drake song and it's talking about the single life, but you're wondering why you're single for so long and you're not in a good relationship, it's because what you're listening to, what you're telling yourself. And that all plays a part into our thoughts, our emotions. My second book, I talk so much about just anxiety and depression in today's world, because we're consumed on our phones all the time. Where there's been times where God's like, hey, don't watch TikTok tonight. Read the word, or give up this social media for X amount of time. And it helped me level up in my spiritual growth. And go for it.
I'm sorry.
No,
That's
you're
exactly
fine.
what I wanted to comment on. I was a avid Facebooker, in the sense of almost coming out of my reality, in the sense, into Facebook, by me stepping away for maybe 2 months. And by all means, Facebook is awesome. I love it. But I knew it was shaping my reality. And that's just the type of person that I am. And that's what I went through. I can't speak for anyone else, but that's what I went through. So coming off of that, I was able to really tap into myself, really tap into the things that I wanted for myself. And then going through freedom with this process, it allowed me to get closer to God. So now I can actually know and feel what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how. Now, don't get me wrong, life will never be perfect. Even with this walk, even going through freedom, life still throws you curveballs. But it's about how you go through those curveballs, and about if you're still going to praise him in that process.
That's so good, Tori. If you don't mind sharing a little bit more, whenever I reconnected with Tori, I want to say it was around, was it March or April? And then we went through that 12-week curriculum together. She was coming out of a time, like all of us, fresh out of COVID, where she was a little bit more depressed than normal, had a little bit more anxiety than normal, and just couldn't figure out why it was there. So could you explain to our listeners and viewers where you were then and where you are now, and what was the cause of it?
During COVID, it was more or less of me just figuring out myself, in a sense. And like I said on a previous engagement that I had, I was always a pleaser. Like, so I wanted to please the world, please the crowd, and not be I lost myself in that process. So through COVID, I realized, like, who is this person you're looking at in the mirror? But I didn't have the tools that I needed to kind of sift through that and let myself come out on the other end. But by going through freedom, that was the last piece I needed to be able to not only reshape myself, but in order to move forward in life.
That's awesome. I think one of the biggest things that I got from Tori's story and her testimony is, prior to freedom, she was trying to figure herself out on her own, where whenever she let God in, he started to reveal to her who she really is and how to just walk in that. And she became so natural at it, started to utilize so many God-given gifts that she had. Now she's opening up her new business, has new job opportunities for her. Her relationship's going well. So her life is continuing to increase. And like she said, she's not perfect, but our God is. So she's just tapping into things that he's given her. And it's so awesome to listen to her story and her testimony, because I'm sure a lot of us can relate. After COVID, we were down, isolated, just doing a lot of things on our own. And it made us, do a lot of self-reflection. But sometimes you can get stuck in your own thoughts and they begin to spiral. And then you start to listen to the enemy who's telling you that you're not enough, you're so lost, and it's just all these bad things about you, where you got to listen to God, the Holy Spirit, speaking positive things into you. And that's what she started to do, and just turn things around for herself.
Yes. And just after Freedom, we did the conference, like Caitlin was saying. It's like this 2-day event where you basically take everything that you learned in Freedom and they get down to the core. They pray for you. They just guide you so that after the conference, you'll be able to sustain these teachings and these learnings further. And man, that was a blessing. That's all I can say was that was a blessing. Again, life is definitely throwing curveballs. I'm still going through the motions. Things are too coming together. And it's more or less my dreams are kind of coming together. My aspirations are coming together.
Wow.
Everything in life, we kind of walk through the motions when it comes to moving, when it comes to a job, when it comes to different things. But your aspirations are hard to obtain sometimes because of those things may get in the way. But God put me right where I need to be, and I'm going to continue to trust him. Again, it may look confusing too. Don't get it. Side note, it may be confusing, but it's okay. Just continue to have faith, and every day I wake up, I just ask God to put me in the position to do whatever it is you want me to do for you guys.
That's such a good prayer. And she hit the nail on the head whenever she said it's still confusing. It's not picture perfect just because you're walking in your will or your faith with God. It's not perfect, but when I tell you it's easier, would you agree?
Yes, it is so much easier. Like I can say, okay, I don't feel right. This not it. Okay, we're going to scratch that one off. Now, I still may have 2 other things I'm juggling between, but at least I know for a fact that I was able to cross one off and focus on these other 2 things.
Yes, that's so good. And it's so true, because I'm a black and white person. So whenever I went through Freedom and then really started walking in my new faith walk with God, I was like, okay, God, you're going to tell me like it's either going to be black or it's going to be white. And I'm going to have that definite answer, where I quickly realized that that's not how God works. That's not how prayers work. It takes time, and it's all in God's time. And when you just accept that and just let it go, it's a weight lifted off your shoulders, because whenever God does deliver whatever it is that you were confused about, it's 10 times better than what you could have thought of or planned yourself.
Right. And every lesson, everything you go through, even if you feel like, God, why am I here? Why did I get put in this position? I guarantee you're going to learn from that situation. Either you'll never do it again, or you'll do it a different way the next time.
Yes.
So, it's a building. It builds you. Because I was just telling Caitlin a little earlier about some things when I was younger. College, just different stuff processes I had to go through, but now I see why I had to go through those processes, because I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't know the things that I know, and I wouldn't be able to be as successful as I am if I wouldn't have went through those trials and tribulations.
Absolutely. But going through it, she had no idea why she was going through such trying times. And now she's on the other end like, I see what you did there, God. I see why I had to go through that in my personal life. And in doing so, it's helping so many other people. And that's normally why we go through trying times in life. So our tests can be testimonies for others, and it could just help them out. My miscarriage a few months ago was a perfect example of that, as I'm able to talk to other women about it and give back to them. And trust me, as entrepreneurs, my husband and I have plenty of times where it's like, God, why are you sending us through these valleys and these low points? Like, we're ready for the mountaintop. But then when we get to the mountaintop and we thank God and glorify him from it, we realize why we went through those valleys. It's because other people are going to go through those valleys too, so we can make their journey a little bit easier because we went through it too.
Yes, and that's exactly how I feel. Just walking through these different things, I feel like I need to reach out and help people. I need to reach out and do more for people, because I went through certain things, but other people kind of don't have to. And if they do, they won't fall as hard, and it won't be as hard to get up, because sometimes we just need that shoulder to lean on. One that's not judgmental, one that'll just meet you where you are and help you walk further.
Absolutely.
Basically.
I like that you said one that's not judgmental too. It's because a lot of people, whenever they're talking to somebody that's a Christian, they feel like immediately they're going to get judged. And trust me, Caitlin, months ago, years ago, I don't even know a timeline on it, but the Caitlin that used to party and drink and do this and do that, anytime that she was talking to somebody that was better than her, or just it looked like they were better than her, I didn't want to tell them all what I was doing or the life that I was living, because I felt like I was going to be judged. Where going through freedom, you realize like your past is your past, and yes, it's still your past, but God doesn't even look at that. Like, you are the only one concerned about that and worried about it, because God has washed that clean as snow.
Exactly. And moving forward, you know, he's not gonna, oh, you did this 10 years ago, so I'm only give you this. No, it's about how you follow up. In a sense, you went through that, okay, make peace with it, because God has made peace with it.
Yeah.
So you need to make peace with it, and then push forward, man. Just don't give up. Keep pushing.
Yes. Like,
keep pushing.
Like Frozen says, just let it go.
Let it go. Let it go, because those thoughts will turn to negative thoughts, and negative thoughts are not from God.
No, and then you're going to believe you are that identity in whatever it is that you're doing. Whether you're caught up in looking at stuff on the internet, you just have bad habits. For me personally, it was drinking. So if I would have got stuck in that rut, I would have started to identify with my actions. Oh, I'm drinking. That makes me an alcoholic. Then the enemy would have used that, and I would have continued to live in that.
Right.
Where when I let it go and gave it to God, I didn't stop drinking immediately, but I was able to slowly get out of that bad habit that I had, give it to God, and then, you know, there's times when I'm still tested. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect, but that's when I rely on the strength that He has given me versus trying to do it on my own. And it is hard to own up to whatever it is that you may be doing, because you don't want to be judged by God, but then you also don't want to be judged by your peers, your friends, your family, and personally yourself, because I used to be my own worst critic.
Right.
But once you just like come clean about it, you're good to go. And that was a big thing that freedom opened up our eyes to, was they really made you come clean with people you didn't forgive, things that you were holding on to, ways that you were being prideful that you didn't even realize you were a prideful person. So it made you dig deeper into like the bad stuff to really get it out of you that's deeply rooted, and then walk in freedom with that.
Yes, I find that I tapped into a lot of things that I was making excuses for, a lot of things that I felt like I was wrong for, but really that's just the idea that I created. And then once I started digging into those things, that hurt. Like, it was like, ouch. Because I didn't want to go through these things. I've been moving so fast for so long, so I didn't have to walk through these things, and I can continue to make excuses for things that I shouldn't be, just own up to. So once I started owning up, and then I finally got over I call it jet lag of doing so, things started to just make sense, and I no longer was making excuses. I made amends with a lot of people, a lot of family members, and I understood why. I think I was looking for the why did I feel like this. And once I went through freedom, I was able to kind of like, okay, I understand, and the way I looked at it was not what it really was. Let me go back. And that all comes to thinking positive, speaking positive, and having positive people in your surroundings and in your corner.
Absolutely. And those people can be your friends and your family. And once you let go of what they've done to you that may have caused hurt, realize you may have changed, but those people necessarily did not change. So they may hurt you again. But the time frame of you holding on to that hurt will become lessened because you grew from it. So because Tori was able to forgive those people and move on, if they come at her again and they hurt her, yes, it may hurt in that moment, but she can give it to God and then let it go a day or two later or an hour later versus holding on to it for years and letting it ruin her. I love this example that she gave us at one of the freedom meetings that we had. It was about a man and some fried chicken. So I'm going to let her explain what the example
Yo, I just be talking. Like, I just take analogies and I flip them anywhere. So, Caitlin, you do the honors, because I don't remember.
So she told us that she was at work one day, and what happened? Okay, we may get it a little twisted or wrong, but the moral of the story is right, okay? The man had ordered some fried chicken, and then somebody had made an ugly comment about him being a bigger person ordering fried chicken, and he responded to her in love.
Oh, yes, I do remember. Yes, it was at work one day, and he's a bigger, heavier guy. Boom, boom. You know, and one of the people, they walked in and made a comment about, and I was ready to, like, come unglued. Just because I walked that walk before, and, like, you gonna comment on my food? Like, this don't even have nothing to do with you. So this was like this was
like one of the first meetings we had.
Yeah, I wasn't there yet, guys. I wasn't there yet. But he gave me the perfect example of what it looks like. He just said, I love you.
Wow.
I love you. Like, it was sent to hurt his feelings, I feel. You know what I'm saying? The situation, it was sent to hurt his feelings or to make him feel like maybe no. But all he said was, I love you. And the person was like, huh? I love you.
That's crazy.
Exactly. Because he knew, and he's well seasoned in his faith, he knew, you know, what she was trying to do, but he refused to succumb to it. He refused to fall into that or give her a negative comment back, because for what?
Yeah.
What is that going to change?
Nothing. And I told Tori, whenever she told me that story months ago, that I want my response time and my forgiveness time to be as quick and instant as his was. Like, if somebody were to cut me off in traffic, I want to be like, it's okay, I forgive you, have a great day, versus trying to shoot them the bird and responding in anger and blowing my horn at them.
Right.
Because what does that do for you? If you don't respond out of love like he did, all it does is make bitterness and anger stir up in you. And now you got two angry people versus you walking in happiness, and that person can continue to do what they want to do. But that's okay because you've forgiven them and you're happy. Exactly.
And that allows you to lead by example too. Because if I would have never saw that example firsthand, I wouldn't have dove as deep as I did into freedom. I wouldn't have I'd have walked through the motions, and I'm pretty sure I would have got half of this out of it, more than half. But his response showed me, like, and we were actually going over that in freedom that week. So I was like, man, God is real, because it's no way. It's just no way. But whenever you understand God and what he wants from you, you have no problem giving that back.
Absolutely.
You have no problem, because you know what you're getting. Like, you know, you feel fulfilled. You know that he's in a place, he's going to send you into a good place.
Yes.
You know, you're going to be at peace. So you don't want to stray away from that. No. So whenever you find faith, and you find God, however you decide to do that, you're going to walk different. You're going to talk different. You're going to respond differently. And people may be like, who is this person? Because you're just going to be brand new, but it's not going to be out of you trying or practicing. You're literally just going to wake up and be new.
Yeah, because he's doing it within you. That's why I always say it's this crazy superpower that you unlock. And once you do, you never want to let it go, because you just operate completely different, like Tori was just saying.
Yes.
And I like to say you can either choose to have a relationship with God and you really just focus on that, or like we were brought up, it's just religion, where you go to church on Sundays because you're told to. You read the Bible that you don't even understand because you're told to. And you do all these things out of rituals or being told to do them, and it becomes a to-do list. And when you do that, nothing has changed internally. But when you just focus on your relationship with God and let him work in you, then you see so many things changing in your life, because it's him that's doing the work and not you trying to do it.
And then once you get that change, respond to people. Try to respond to people differently. Try to do things differently, so you can show non-believers or people who are kind of have on the fence and have questions that nothing's wrong with this.
Exactly.
Nothing is wrong with crossing over the fence. You know what I mean? My life has not necessarily, my lifestyle and stuff has kind of changed, but I'm the same person. Just better. Just a better version of myself. And I feel like, a lot of people are strayed away because they don't have good leaders.
That's
like
true.
They don't have programs like this. They don't have, all they have is what they've been doing all their life. And not all the time every church is meant for you.
Absolutely.
Or every pastor or every just whoever is your leader, not everybody is for you. So you kind of got to try there's nothing wrong with trying different places out before you say, this is what I want to do. And you don't have to go into the church or go into any facility or watch your live feeds of the churches with the mindset of, okay, I'm here to learn about God. He's going to make my life change now. No, baby steps. Because Lighthouse Ministry in Houston, I became a virtual member. Why? Because I attracted to them. I am from Patterson, as you all know, but I love those churches. I just chose the Houston church because that's the one that I connected with.
Yep.
So nowadays, everything's virtual, guys. Everything is online. You can definitely see and get video and footage off YouTube of different churches and different leaders that you feel can guide you in the right direction.
That's so good. I love listening to different podcasts and learning about different things. So just to grow in my walk with God, I listen to different churches online with different pastors that I love, because that's helping me strengthen my faith. And then I also associate with other women in Christ, because that's helping strengthen my faith too. So there's so many ways to take it, and you just got to focus on that relationship with God and say, you know what, I really want that. Whether I'm still struggling with looking at porn, or I'm still struggling with obesity, or just whatever bad habits you may have, or I'm still struggling with infidelity. Like, let's get real. We all struggle with different things. It's okay to be caught up in that. But whenever you say, I want God because I want him to start changing these bad habits in my life, he will. But you can't sit behind the bad habit and say, I can't go to God because I'm struggling with this.
Right.
He wants us to come to him with all the baggage.
Right. Right. And again, that habit may not be fixed overnight. Some things may have to happen first before that happens, guys. So it's not instant. And you just, like you said, a bad habit, or it could have been a bad experience.
That too.
It could have been a bad experience. And if you have had a bad experience one place, just go to another. Or if you've had a bad experience with certain leaders, or just try another. We go to McDonald's, okay, they mess up your order. Do you not go back?
No, you go to another McDonald's.
Exactly. Or if you're ordering, oh, I don't like that one on that side, let's go to this one on this side. That's or whatever. Just try it. Try it. That's all we're asking you guys to do, is to try it.
Because you can't let one bad apple spoil it for all of them. And in our world, we have a bad habit of doing that. Where if we see one pastor that's preaching and he's supposed to be Christian and he said the wrong thing, or he offended one of his members, now all of a sudden, all Christians are bad people.
Right.
Where I had to learn that that's not necessarily the case. We are all human. So I'm not going to let that ruin my relationship with God. Right. I'm just going to try another McDonald's, like she said. So I'm going to go to a new church. I'm going to find a new church home, new pastor, or I'm going to open up the Bible myself and say, you know what, God, you speak to me directly. I don't need to go through somebody else or go to somebody's message. I just want you to speak to me. Or maybe I'll book a coffee date with one of my really good friends who I know is going to be honest and open with me and pour into me. And then God has his way at our meetup. So there's many ways to go through it. You just can't let one bad relationship or experience, like Tori said, ruin it for all of them.
Right. And don't look at God and faith as rules and regulations, because I did that. I used to do that. I used to be like, hold on, I kind of like the Bible, but I only like this part of the Bible.
9 out of 10 of the commandments.
9 out of 10, yeah, because I just don't see why God gonna send me to hell to do that. You know what I'm saying? But once you get the knowledge, and once you find out for yourself, and you're able to ask the questions necessary for your brain to process it, you're gonna be right where we are.
Yes,
you're gonna be right where we are, because nothing that was told to me has turned me away. And I'm a very like, look, if I feel like it's too much, I'm dipping. But he's not asking much from us.
No, and that's really an enemy of the tactic of the enemy. Where if you read the Bible and you don't agree with what it's saying, the devil's going to be like, yeah, so just stop reading that Bible. God's not real. That was like in the old days. That doesn't apply right now. That is a huge tactic of the enemy, where he just wants you to shut down your relationship with God instead of trying to revamp it or going to somebody else who may understand it a little bit better. And whenever Tori said she's better now, yes, we are better because of what the Holy Spirit has given us. But that doesn't make us better than anybody. Nope. It just makes us a little bit different because we've tapped into something else. And we have plenty of other friends and family who's done the same thing. And we truly want the same for you, which is why we wanted to get on here and record this awesome interview about all that Freedom has done in her life and my life and the thousands of people across the U.S. who go through the Freedom Conference that they offer twice a year.
Right. And to add to the better, I'm not saying that, like you said, I'm better. I just know me personally, I'm better. I'm more at peace. I can sleep better. I can move better. Right now I'm going through a lot of different transitions. If you'd have caught me a year ago, I'd probably have cut my hair off and like be bald and just be crying every day.
She'd be crumbling right now. Life is throwing her so many hard balls, but she's navigating them through peace and joy. And I will tell you that is not peace and joy that has come from her. It's peace and joy that God has given her to navigate these hardships, that once she gets to the mountaintop, she's going to say once again, like, God, that's why you brought me through that, and then be able to help so many other people.
Yep. I just want to, I'll be able to say, I see what you did there, because I really do that. Like, I'll be walking, and if something happens, like, I see what you did there, God. And I do like a little dance. Hey, that's who I am. That's what I do because I'm so excited. And then I go run, get on the phone. Hey, guess what God did for me? Hey, guess what God did for me? That's just what I do. You know, that's just me. But you don't have to be that way. But I'm just so excited about it. It's kind of like when you get a new, like something new. You get so excited about it. You want to share it to everybody. Like every time it works, oh, let me show everybody. Like literally. Because it's just something that's in you now.
And I'm happy she said that. A lot of people are turned off whenever they're like, okay, you're a Christian, that's great, but you don't have to push it on me. We're not pushing it on you, trust me. We're just excited to talk about it. Like, I'm drinking green juice right now. Just like I talk about my fruits and veggies all the time because I love the vegan lifestyle and I just like healthier things. I'm talking to you about this because I love just what God has done in my life, what he's doing in Tori's life, and we're totally excited about it.
Excited, y'all. Excited. And I couldn't ask for anything different. It's kind of like reassurance. Like, while I'm going through all this stuff, I just know it's going to work out. Like, I'm really, like, I know, and everybody out there who knows me knows that I'm not about to say nothing going to work out. Like, I'm going to be like, what can I do today to set me up for tomorrow? What can I be doing now? Like, I need to be doing something.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I am working, but I'm not working and stressed about my situation. I'm just going to work. I'm just going to do what I love to do, and it's going to unfold. And it's, especially if you do right by people and you show them what you're trying to do, they'll put a hand in it immediately.
They will. And a lot of people like to say, well, that's the universe just working things out. Where biblically, it's in the Bible that whenever you do good, God gives you grace and those things come right back. Or also like Tori's doing, she's speaking it into existence. Yeah. That's what people like to say, but that's in the Bible too. Like, power is in the tongue. Whenever you speak it, God is going to deliver it. And it may not be when you want it or on your timeline, but it will come. A perfect example, every year, me and my husband do dream boards. So we always put, like, in 2020 or 2021, what we want. This year was my dream car, a G-Wagon. And my dream changed, okay, just a little bit, and I wanted a Cadillac. That came out because I kept speaking it every single day. And then when my husband got tired of hearing it, I spoke it to God over and over, and he delivered it. So whatever it is in your life that you want, just speak it. Keep praying about it. Be intentional with it. Tori's life is going to turn around in the next few days, and she keeps speaking it. So it's inevitable that God is going to deliver that promise to her because power is in the tongue, and God hears it. So he's going to deliver it for sure. And
just be ready to receive whatever he gives, because it may not have been your idea, but after going through freedom, I kind of will know, like, okay, God, this is what you have for me. This is kind of what you paved the way for, so let me stay in tune with it.
Yes.
You know, things like that.
And you'll know if you're trying to do it on your own or just accepting what God's gave you, because when you try to do it on your own, you're limited to what your human brain can think of. Whenever you give it to God, he opens up supernatural doors that you couldn't even imagine. And that's one of those moments where you look at God, like Tori said, and you're like, that was totally you, because I could not have done that on my own.
And just recently, before this, I had I talked about freedom with someone else. And I just said, you know, I got some good things in the works. I didn't know necessarily what I was going to be doing. I thought it was something else, but not even a week and a half, 2 weeks later, it's something totally different. It has flourished, and we're moving. Wow. So, right. And that's one of my dreams. It's like, golly, the whole time I've been running around in circles trying to find different things, but my dream is right here. What I love to do is right here. Let me walk in there, because that got to be from God. It's nobody else. And literally everything is just coming together so perfectly.
And I love beautiful examples and testimonies of those things happening in people's lives. So whenever I get messages or DMs or just friends reaching out to me about how God's working, I love that. So feel free to reach out to me via Instagram, Facebook, or put in the comments just how God's been moving in your life. Just like Tori just shared her awesome example. And I really hope that us talking about the Freedom Curriculum and the Freedom Conference and how much it's changed us inspires you to either take part in a Freedom Conference yourself. There's the workbooks that you can do week by week. And it happens twice a year. That's through the church. Or if you want to take baby steps, just connect with another Christian friend or a friend that you know you want something from them because they have a light in them that you desire, and go for it. If you have anything else to tell them, Tori?
Oh, no, I'm just, guys, keep it up. Like, keep pushing. I'll say that every time, and I'm going to continuously say it. Keep pushing, keep searching for God, keep finding faith where you are. He'll meet you where you are and bring you where you need to be. So also you can reach out to me. Tori underscore, no, I lied, guys. Instagram is Grogan underscore Tori, and on Facebook it's Tori Danielle Grogan. And just watch out because things are coming. Things are in the motions. Guys.
Awesome things are on the way. I'll definitely link Tori's connection in the bio. And if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, I hope you've enjoyed. Stay tuned for the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. It's all about personal development. More coming soon, but I am 9 months pregnant, so I can't make any promises on when. And I have a toddler. But we hope you guys enjoyed, and y'all be blessed.
Bye, guys.
Wow, how about that episode? I know you are motivated to kick your butt into gear and become a better version of yourself from this experience of the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. The crazy title of this podcast comes from the original personal development book series. Each book will transform you even more than listening to this podcast. Each book takes a deeper dive into how you can better yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and even spiritually. Continue your journey of personal growth by being a part of the amazing personal growth book series that is written in a fun fiction way with in-depth journals concluding each chapter. What are you waiting for? Go order your book at www.kfoxworth.com and join the Facebook community in the private Facebook group named I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. You don't want to miss out on the full trifecta experience, including the books, the podcast, and the mastermind community in Facebook groups. Keep your personal growth burning desire on fire and be part of it all. It all starts here. So thanks for listening to the podcast and stick around for more great episodes to keep you growing in all areas of life. You are killing it.